Why are families with school-aged children moving to Kansas City specifically for the schools? How do the schools in Kansas City compare to the schools nationally? The schools on the Kansas side, how do they compare to the schools on the Missouri side? And if I don't want to send my child to a public school, what are my options, and what are the private schools like here in the Kansas City metro? Well, let's begin with why families are moving to the Kansas City area for the schools. The reasons are amazingly consistent. So whether you are coming from, say, California, Colorado, Texas, East Coast, or major metropolitan areas like Chicago, families choose Kansas City because of three major reasons. One, Kansas City has multiple nationally recognized public school districts. Districts like Blue Valley, Olathe, Shawnee Mission, DeSoto, Blue Springs, Lee Summit, and Park Hill. These districts routinely rank among the top districts in the Midwest. And this concentration of high-performing school districts in a metro is rare, especially in Kansas City at their price point. Two, student-teacher ratios are lower than the national average. So, for instance, the national average of student-teacher ratio is 17-1. Most of the school districts in the Kansas City suburban area have ratios of anywhere from 14 to 16 students per teacher, which means your child is going to get more individualized attention. There's better opportunities if you need better attention for special needs students, and three, stronger student-teacher relationships. These differences are very noticeable to families who are moving from larger metropolitan areas. Kansas City schools offer specialized learning pathways that many families can't find elsewhere. For instance, STEM academics, aerospace engineering, bioscience pathways, business academies, as well as advanced performing arts programs. The Kansas City schools offer the kinds of opportunities you normally would find only in major high-price metros. It's these three reasons alone that make Kansas City one of the most desirable spots for families, but believe it or not, the story even gets better. Hey look, if we haven't met before, my name is Chris Pucci and I help people just like you make a smooth transition into the Kansas City metro. In addition to that, I make videos just like this that share everything about Kansas City. So, if you are interested in learning more about Kansas City, simply subscribe to my channel by tapping on the bell below. And if you are thinking about making a move to the Kansas City area, I'd love to help you make that smooth transition as well. So, let's talk a little bit about how do the schools in the Kansas City metro compare to schools nationally. To put this in perspective, how do our schools stack up compared to the rest of the country? Well, let's talk about graduation rates first. The national average is about 86%. For the Kansas City suburb districts, we're talking a range from 93 to 96%. ACT performance, well, the national average ATC score is around 20. Many of the Kansas City districts, however, consistently score higher than that, especially the Blue Valley district, as well as some schools in Olathe and the Lee Summit High Schools. Advanced placement programs and dual credit access. Kansas City suburbs offer high AP participation rates, multiple AP course tracks, dual credit partnerships with universities, and IB programs at selected schools. These programs, they give students a competitive advantage when it comes to college admissions. And then modern facilities. So unlike a lot of the more established metros where schools were built 50 to 60 years ago, because of Kansas City's explosive suburban growth, well, we have very modern, updated facilities, newer buildings, updated science labs, massive performing arts centers, as well as athletic complexes that are on par with small universities. For a family that's looking for high-performing schools, Kansas City delivers national level quality at a cost that is dramatically lower than most coastal or major Midwestern metros. So now let's move our attention and talk a little bit about Kansas versus Missouri. Which side has the better schools? Well, If you've done any research, then you know that Johnson County, Kansas is considered the gold standard in terms of public education in the Kansas City metro. Johnson County consists of 4 major school districts: Blue Valley, Olathe, Shawnee Mission, and DeSoto. Blue Valley has got an A+ rating by niche.com. Olathe and Shawnee Mission DeSoto have A ratings. One of the reasons that families choose the Kansas side has to do with the fact that they have the highest academic performance in the metro. They have lower student-teacher ratios, typically anywhere from 13-1 to 15-1. Also, you're going to get very strong AP, IP, gifted, and STEM programs. You have consistent school funding. Johnson County is a stickler for making sure that their schools are adequately funded so that they'll maintain the quality of education, because they understand that's what families are looking for, and that's how they're going to attract families to the Johnson County area. Also, the schools allow the students to have a high college readiness, and most of them have nationally ranked high schools. In addition to that, there are programs for special needs. For instance, if say you have autism. In fact, I have a client who has an autistic child, and after doing a lot of research, they determined that the autistic program in the Blue Valley School District was the best in the nation. So they literally moved for that reason to the Kansas City area, and we found them a really nice house in one of the Blue Valley's feeder areas. With respect to Blue Valley, it is frequently ranked among the top 1 to 2% of public school districts in the United States. So if you should have, though, a special needs program child, let me know what the situation is. I'll be happy to do the research and share with you which school districts probably best meets that need. So now let's talk a little bit about the schools on the Missouri side. Now, on the Missouri side, there's a more, we'll call it, diversity in terms of performance. Here you're going to find school districts that range any from a C rating all the way up to an A rating. So you do have excellent school districts in Missouri, especially on the far eastern or northern suburbs. For instance, Lee Summit, Blue Springs, and Green Valley, they're all on the eastern portion of the Kansas City metro area. They all are rated A by niche.com. And then you have the Park Hill School District, which is up north. It also has an A rating from niche.com. Why do families choose these particular schools? Well, first of all, they're similar to the Johnson County schools, and they offer very strong academics. Secondly, they offer excellent extracurricular activities as well as athletic programs, and they offer, though, a lower house point compared to the Kansas side. So, if you are on a tight budget and you're really looking for an excellent education for your children, then these school districts and areas make an excellent choice. So let's just say, for example, you're not interested in sending your child to the public school system. Perhaps you found a home on the Missouri side that's in a neighborhood that you really love, but you're not enthralled with the quality of the education that the particular school that services that neighborhood. So what are your options? Well, fortunately for you, Kansas City has a great array of private schools, from K to 8th grade to the high schools. You have at your disposal, as far as the Catholic school system, there are schools throughout the metropolitan area. In fact, I grew up on the Missouri side, and I went through the Catholic school system. My first 4 years was at Christ the King. My last 4 years were at Visitation. If any one of you ever watched the Blues Brothers, my favorite scene in that movie is when Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi are sitting in those desks in the school with the nun, and she's kind of chasing him around the room with her pointer, and they're trying to get away, stuck in those desks. Every time I see it, I laugh, and my wife looks at me like, "Why do you find that so funny?" And I go, "You just had to experience it." So you have the Catholic school systems, but you also have some great non-Catholic schools, such as you've got Barstow, which is located actually right on the Kansas-Missouri state line. It is known for its strong academics and arts. You've got Pembroke Hill, which is an elite prep school. You've got the Kansas City Christian School, and you have Crossroads Academy, which focuses on innovation. And then we have the high schools. All the high schools are typically Catholic-run high schools. You've got St. James Lenexa, which is known for its strong college prep. You have St. Thomas Aquinas in Overland Park. It's known for its large athletic program. You have St. Teresa's Academy, which is an all-girls high school that's located right in the heart of some of the best neighborhoods in Kansas City, Missouri. And then you have Rockhurst High School, which is also located, believe it or not, right on state line. This is a Jesuit all-boys school. In fact, this is my alma mater. And one of the great things about that school is it kind of has what we call the Rockhurst Mafia. There's a lot of very successful people here in Kansas City that went to that high school. So it tends to open up a lot of doors for people who've gone to the Rockhurst High. Now, all of these schools that I've mentioned, niche.com gives them at least an A rating or higher. So these are all quality schools where you'll be able to get a great education. And then we have some specialized private schools as well. The Horizon Academy, this is a school that really helps people with learning disabilities. And then you've got the Hyman Brand Hebrew Academy. This school focuses on Jewish education. And then we have the Kansas School for the Deaf. This is a state-funded school that has an excellent national reputation. So when you compare Kansas City's private schools to schools in Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York, the Kansas City's private tuition is dramatically more affordable, which makes private schooling a realistic option for many families who don't want to send their child through the public school system, or they're not pleased with the school system that feeds into their neighborhood. So this allows them to have the best of both worlds, a desirable neighborhood with excellent education. What does all this then mean for people who are moving from wherever to the Kansas City area? First of all, you have lots of excellent choices. So whether you want public schools, charter schools, or say Montessori, Kansas City is going to offer you a wide range of exceptional options at a great price point. Secondly, Kansas City offers top-tier education without the top-tier cost of living. Families who are moving, say, from Denver, Seattle, California, Chicago, or the Northwest are often shocked at how much value they get here. Larger homes, bigger neighborhoods, safer neighborhoods, higher performing schools, all at a much lower price point. Third is the Kansas side is more consistent for academics, but the Missouri side offers you excellent value. So again, if you want the absolute highest performance metrics, Johnson County is probably going to be where you're going to want to be. If, however, you want excellent schools, but at a much more, say, affordable price point, then districts like Lee Summit, Blue Springs, and Park Hill make excellent choices. And finally, Kansas City is extremely family friendly. We have a host of parks, sports complex, community centers, trails, libraries, and various events that are held throughout the year. And all of this is just an added bonus that complements the various school systems in the Kansas City metro. If you are considering making a move to the Kansas City and you need help or want help figuring out what is the best area for you and your family, let's set up a time where we can chat. You can get a hold of me by phone, text, email, or better yet, set up a Zoom call. And by the way, after we've had that conversation, you decide if it makes sense to have further conversations. Do me a favor, if you would. Please like the video, share it with your friends, be sure to subscribe. Now, 2 things I want to leave you with. 1, in addition to being a realtor, I'm also a lender. So if you're like most of us, that next transaction, that next purchase is going to require financing. So if that is the case, I can become a very invaluable resource. I can answer any questions you have and help you navigate the process. My clients tell me this. They really like the idea that there's just one point of contact. They find it makes communication smoother, takes a lot of the stress out, it makes the whole process more enjoyable. And secondly, if you are relocating, but not necessarily to the Kansas City market, and you're looking for a realtor, I can help you with that as well. Just reach out to me and I'll refer you to someone who really is best suited for your particular situation. So with that being said, I want to thank you for watching the video. And until then, I look forward to showing you around Kansas City.